Hello and welcome to a little bonus piece of content type thing from the Brass Junkies. I'm your host, Andrew Hitz, and Lance has no idea that we were even going to do this. Lance, how are you?
I'm good. I was just sitting here working on my computer, and all of a sudden the camera turned on.
Well, you got so dressed up. I thought that maybe you.
This is my nice sweatshirt.
So
It's my formal sweatshirt.
we did. There you go. There you go. Well, I shouldn't be busting you because I'm not wearing pants. I mention, by the way, on the podcast, I'm not sure if I did or not, that my dog, I'm not making this up, that my dog, when I put on my pants, the dog knows that we are about to go out because it's the only thing I leave the house for is like, I mean, I go to the grocery store at like 10 p.m. The dog's always asleep. The only thing that the dog sees me put pants on for is taking her for a walk. So she gets up and stretches like as I'm putting the pants on. It's pretty funny. So we did a thing last month.
Who did?
We we did.
We
Or was
did.
it this month? It was this month.
It was this
It
month.
was not last month. It was last year, 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Shortly after leaving Boston Brass, we did a thing. No, it was a couple of weeks ago. It was the Brass Junkies Trumpet Workshop, which was amazing.
It was so good. Yeah, I mean this killer lineup of players, and actually having I think a warm up class and then having a deep dive into auditioning. I think were really nice additions to just having five world class experts talk about the trumpet.
When I was first learning how to highlight, I struggled with this. I think everybody did, right? Where you'd like, or yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, yes, that's right. So now I'm like, wait, what should I read on this page? It's like, well, this page is just yellow and giving me a headache. Yeah, like everything was highlighted. We could have just taken these 5 sessions and just made a 5-hour highlight reel. But we actually, we tasked our Petaluma Media's Abby Lannon to come up with some clips from each of the 5 artists, and so we thought that we would just throw this together and just kind of throw this out there. It's certainly not a numbered episode. It's not even coming out on a Tuesday. Everything is chaos around here. So
Cats and dogs living together in
there's
peace.
no rules. Yeah, we're like Outback around here. So, yeah, it was awesome. By the way, you can still get this thing if you go to PNM for Petaluma Media, pnmacademy.com/trumpet. Then all 5 of these classes. Oh, and Michael Sachs went for like 90 minutes. He's like a Energizer bunny, man. So it's like 5.5 hours of stuff, including you can warm up with Mary Bowden every single day if you like. That's all online through November 1st. But the classes from Mary's warm up class was great. Sachs is so generous. He's just like, yeah, incredible. And then with the other ones, we did a winning the audition with Tom Hooten, which was the first of many of those where he talked in depth about how he prepared to win the LA Phil audition and talked about audition prep in general, which was really awesome. And then we also had Billy Hunter and Chris Martin. They hate each other, by the way. They despise one another. It's this big New York rivalry. Actually, they don't. I just like making stuff up to be funny. Never let the truth get in the way of a good joke.
Well,
So,
and Billy did a nice analysis of how his meditation practice has balanced out his playing and his auditioning, and Chris Martin peeled back the curtain and kind of gave us insight into what it's like to be a student at Juilliard, what happens on a week to week basis, and what it takes to be a part of that studio.
and he sent us one of his weekly packets, which we took out the copyrighted stuff, but we wrote down all of the etudes that he assigned in a week, and some of the exercises. And yeah, it's a real fascinating peek behind the curtain from a lot of different angles from these 5 artists. And so we thought that we would, you know, why we thought this was a good idea, because Abby had to choose the clips and Will had to edit it together. So Lance and I were like, this is a great idea because we'll talk into the mic for 8 minutes, of which like a minute and a half of it'll be topical, and then you guys do a bunch of work.
Yeah.
It's like, right?
I didn't know it was happening
Yeah.
18 minutes ago.
I should
It's
say,
like, oh, we're doing that? Cool.
I had an idea that other people. So I feel better now. Lance did even less work than
I
I
did
did.
less
He
than you
didn't
did.
even do the brainstorm. So anyway, without further ado, enjoy this little highlight reel from the Brass Junkies Trumpet Workshop.
I wanted to make a quick comment about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. And I'm just curious to know, I can't see you all raise your hands, but I'm going to ask the question rhetorically. How many of you have had statements go through your mind like, I'm just not a high note player, or high notes are really hard for me, or anything like that? If that rings true for you, you need to throw that in the garbage right now. For me, and when I was younger, my fixed mindset that kept creeping back was, I can't play low. I'm terrible at low notes. Low notes are so hard for me. And that stuck with me into my 20s. And I finally just got tired of thinking that way, and really started to address the problem and to improve upon that skill set. And it's not even a problem. It's just, making a list of what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and making sure that your balance is there. And I know you'll all be hearing from Tom Hooten later today. I love his practice chart. So definitely check that out and start your list and seeing and checking the boxes and making sure that you're balanced in all the different areas. And you'll find that your something on your weak list might eventually move over to your strength, and vice versa. So for me, low notes have become a lot more fun. I actually really enjoy playing low now, and it's no longer a weakness. I definitely feel the voice creeping back sometimes, but I have to remind myself about the growth mindset, and that I've addressed that weakness, and that weakness was something I had 20 years ago. So, and now it's something that I feel very confident about, but I had to work very, very hard. Let me just check the chat here.
I think we have a lot of commonalities, as you said. The biggest thing we have in common is that we, all joking aside, we really want to breathe with as little tension as we can. And on the trumpet, for myself, I can say that the biggest challenge is to breathe in an open way, to the bottom, sort of that 3-stage breath, to the bottom of your lungs, middle, top, but to be able to do it quickly, but also to be able to do it after holding a high compression note. So like after playing a big high A, loud high B flat, something like that, then to immediately release that pressure, that compression in your torso, and open again. So most of the breathing I do is really for that. It's not so much for capacity as it is for sort of a relaxed efficiency. I was joking about the toys. I have a lot of toys, but the most important thing is that we can breathe quickly and completely free of tension and of muscular effort, even not even tension in a negative way, just the effort that it takes to hold a note.
I mean, there's the opera repertoire is like the trick, is like actually listening to the opera and knowing how to play like certain styles, because like your typical orchestra audition, like orchestra repertoire is actually very German heavy, whereas
Right.
opera's like it's Italian opera heavy, Italian and German and French and like Hungarian and Russian, all like it's the whole gambit, and it's like and it's not just like German, and you have like, of course, contemporary things and random stuff. A lot of like the Britain opera stuff is very difficult. You'll see that like 4C interludes on a couple of orchestral auditions, but like the Britain stuff is just nasty, like really hard. I remember that being on my audition for the Met as well. And the list is like long, but it's like very specific, because people who know opera listening for auditions know exactly what to listen for, blah, blah, blah. And so you see, can this person play this? For me, for example, I was on a committee for triangle, percussion, and like there was a triangle excerpt, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, like a triangle? And sure enough, I'm like sitting there, it's like, it was a little too much ding and not enough ding. You can tell. Some straight, you can
Right?
tell. But you say, well, that wasn't it, It's like
I
you gotta let the ding bloom,
I thought you were actually saying that there.
What are those tools? what do I need? You know,
Right.
so I remember I sat down one day and I said, okay, here's the list, 30 something excerpts. I wrote them all down. Just had a little brainstorming session. Here they all are. Okay. What do I need to play all these things? I'm just going to start brainstorming. I'm just going to write everything down that comes to mind. High playing, low playing, soft, loud, everything in between. I have to go from loud high to soft low and then vice versa. It was too much. It was overwhelming. I thought, holy cow, I can't. How in the heck am I going to manage all this? Like, there's just no way. And, some people will be like, well, look, man, you're thinking about it too much. Fine, I'm thinking about it too much. But I'm just curious, like, I literally have to do these things at some point, and that's not where my journey ends, but I want to have access to these skills so that I can tell a story how I want to, being inspired by Phil Smith and being inspired by Dave Bilger and Chris Martin, whoever. So I started writing these things down. I wrote those things down in a list. I said, okay, now let me just go from like big
I can use it. And then the other thing is, what keeps my juices going is every single time I'll play a piece. It could be, I don't know, Beethoven 7 or, Eroica Symphony or Dvorak 9 or, pieces I have played many, many, many times. That could become very stale, but for me, if I stay curious, every single time I play it, I'm going to hear something or find something new that's going to help me play my part better in some relationship or something that I hadn't noticed before. Maybe somebody rehearses it and they rehearse something I had never even, they uncover something that's happening while we're cranking away that I never heard. It's like, oh, they're doing that. Now I understand rhythmically how I can fit what I do into that better by watching that or being aware of that when it's happening. So it's just staying aware, staying curious, staying a student of your craft. That to me is what's kept this really fresh for me. I mean, I love what I do more than ever. I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. And a lot of it is because it still feels really fresh for me.